everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Today is a Thanksgiving and I'm going to celebrating at my parents' house. I was debating whether I should be making videos or not, but then I got a call from my cousin with irritated tone of voice. She says, "You haven't been posting lately." And I said, "Have you seen how many views I get?" And she says, "Well, but I watch you." And I said, "Okay, I'll post it for you." So I'm going to make Swiss roll for today. I got 5 eggs here, and I will be adding 2 tablespoons of sugar. Here's my sugar, 2 tablespoons, but if you want more sweeter, go ahead and add more. I think 2 is enough because I also will be using fig jam. You can use any other flavors of your choice. I bought this one from Ross. I know back home, if you're watching me from another countries, you usually make your own fig jam. Like my cousin I just spoke with, she just made bunch from her garden. But if you don't have fig, you can use strawberries or raspberries, any fruits of your choice. So I'm going to give a very good stir for about 2-3 minutes. I also noticed a lot of Russian speaking bloggers, they use the content that's very similar what I have been speaking in my cooking. So it makes me very happy to see that people utilize that knowledge and do something great for the public, educating them or providing some source of new information. And I think a lot has to do with women in this society, how they're trying to become self-sufficient, or if there's any goals that they're trying to achieve. Personally speaking, a lot of people, from what I've been noticing from different backgrounds, typically women do not get education. The main goal is to be a stay-home mom, take care of the children, their husband, which is a great goal for someone who wants to take on that role. But a woman also can do so much more besides being a stay-home mom. And I think it's very strong to be strong in your spirit. And I truly mean that, because once you let that break in you, then you're pretty much useless for yourself, for your family, and for the society. And a very simple example I can provide is, a lot of women, like I said, they do not get educated. And I know this person that was very close to us. Parents did their best to get her high education. She got a degree in medical field. She was a ARNP. So parents put in so much effort sending her to a capital city to give her that education. And she was a straight A student, graduated with honors. Shortly after, she gets married to this guy that everybody was against it, but she said she was so in love and she loved him. So they get married. She comes to find out he's into alcohol. He was doing something drug related, I'm not sure at the time what it was. So she divorced him with 1 child. Her mental state deteriorated to the point where she couldn't hold herself back. And her parents were extremely supportive. They took her back and gave her all the love and everything, but mentally, spiritually, psychologically, she couldn't recuperate. Every time we would go and visit her, she just talked about this guy who ruined her life. But she didn't see anything beyond it, that she had an education. She could have been a great ARNP and do something for the public. So she let herself to go into a position where now she's completely confined on all these heavy psychotic medications. It really makes me sad to see that she let her go to that extreme and destroy her life. So as a woman, it's very strong. Especially she had the support. Sometimes when I think about people in this country, you know, they let you be on your own at the age of 18 and you have to survive, get a job and do whatever. And she had all the support and she still failed. And now all she does is takes the psychotic medications 3-4 times a day, extremely depressed. She doesn't have the strength to pull herself out of the bed. It's very, very sad. So as a woman, it's very important to not let yourself to get to that point for one guy that you thought, you know, that's the person you wanted to be with, and let him ruin your life to that extreme. So now I have 4 ounces of flour. I'm gonna sift my flour into this egg mixture. And I also have my vegetable oil, so I'm going to use a tablespoon of this. Yes, I asked my parents, I said, do you want me to bring something? And, you know, they always said no because they know I was busy yesterday, so they didn't want to ask me for anything, but I feel like I need to be doing something. And I'm going to give a gentle stir. I wasn't sure if we were gonna have this Thanksgiving because last Friday my mother got really bad. We thought she was gonna end up at the hospital because her blood pressure kept fluctuating, and with a lot of prayers and medications now she's better. And nowadays people are so modest, nobody wants to be in the videos. I remember back in the 90s, everybody would do anything to be in the video, but not anymore. So if they're okay with it, I would videotape them. If not, then maybe just a table. And I also have other people who do not also want to be in the videos, although I do feel like they have such a rich history and background that they can be sharing with us, but they said no. So now it's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into this pan. Well, for this Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for this country. I'm thankful for all the people that came into my life, and pretty much for every single beautiful day that starts with sunshine, I'm thankful. And I wish this world a peace, because we only live one life and we want to have a most peaceful and beautiful life that anybody could have. And working with so many people from different countries, I come to find out that they all want health, they all want their families to be together, they all want to live in peace. So that's the core wants that all the people who come to this country want. Oh, and another question, since we're talking about that, many people ask me, well, how come you post those videos about astronomers? Aren't you a refugee? Yes, I am a refugee, but just give you another example. Here I am in this country, and my neighbor, he works for the public TV station. Does that not make me a refugee? What does that have to do with having neighbors in the surrounding who are scientists or professionals? Does that limit you not become a refugee? Yes, we did have a great life, but we were forced to flee overnight, came to a country, and started everything from zero. So I think there is a huge misconceptions, because some refugees do come from refugee camps where they had very poor life circumstances, and my family did endure those times. Thankfully it was a short term, but we also lived in a school where we had no running water, no electricity. We used to use those gas pumps until one day everything changed. So I think there's just a big misconceptions as what refugees looks like. Yeah, so I thought to share that as well in case if anybody was still having questions about that. And then I'm going to bake this for about 15 minutes and then we'll be back. It's ready. I baked for 15 minutes, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is what I got. For some of you who might not know what this is just a heavy duty parchment paper. You could also use the regular white ones. I just find those to be reusable, so I bought one of those. So once it cools down, I'm going to fill it with my fig jam, and then slowly I will be rolling it to give that Swiss roll look. Okay, while I let this cool, I will come back and show you when it's cooled down. Let it cool for 5 minutes, and now let's fill it with the fig jam. So let's evenly spread this through. Here you go. You know, in the past, I used to write letters to the family, and when I say family, I have maybe 70, 80 cousins back home, but now what makes it easier, I can transform this information through videos. So what is the difference between the cultures here? There is many examples that I can give, but one of the main ones, like I mentioned, many kids, they move out at the age of 18 to become self-sufficient, and they find jobs, get education, support themselves, where in our countries, children do not leave their parents' household until they're married. And if you're the oldest son, you marry and you bring your significant other into your parents' house. Also, Americans are very self-confident, and I think there is a huge misconceptions how we view self-confidence. Self-confidence, I'm not saying if you're empty and you have nothing to share and you're trying to tell people that you have the knowledge when in reality you don't. That's not a self-confidence. That's just talking from an empty space. But when I say confidence, people, they have the knowledge and they're not afraid to share it with others, which I find it very appealing. For instance, when I was in school back home, if the teacher would ask us a question, even though we knew the answers and we had good output to provide, we would remain silent, because we thought, oh, if we share our knowledge or our ideas, then they're gonna think we're, self-centered, or we think too high of ourselves, or we're bragging about ourselves. No, not necessarily. If you have the knowledge, they value your self-confidence, what you bring to the table. I remember one of my first jobs, my supervisor, he asked me to share about my educational background, and I remember telling him, I'm not here to brag about it. And he said, no, God, that's not about bragging, that's about sharing. And I thought, what an interesting way to look at it. So that's what I noticed about cultural differences. So now I'm going to go ahead and roll it. So you could use this to support, but I think I'll be able to do without it. So I'm just going to use my hands. So here's my roll, and then I will let it stay in this position for 5 to 10 minutes before I cut it. And then I will show you the final result. So I'm going to tap it to make it flat. There you go. Here's the finished look. I sliced it into the rolls and I garnished it with sugar powder. Here's the final look. And I also made those tangerine rolls. It's very easy to make. I will link the recipe so you could see. So this goes really well with tea or coffee. See you at parents' house for turkey dinner. Okay, hi sweeties. There is our Bella. Happy Thanksgiving, Bella. Okay, our Thanksgiving dinner. Here you go. This is rapama. It's a rice pilaf with raisins and different kinds of nuts. So, does anybody want to tell the history behind the Thanksgiving? So, in 1826, pilgrims from England, they fled religious persecution, and the first place that they came was here. And Indians, the Native Americans, they greeted them with kindness and respect. They were very hospitable, and that's where the Thanksgiving holiday came from.
That's my favorite part.
Is
The
it?
crispy skin is so good.
Oh, it's nothing. I just put a Band-Aid on. This is our sweet table. So I got my Swiss roll. We got pumpkin pie, tiramisu, homemade chocolates, and fruits. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.